Hello, Angry Nation. This is your gracious host, that Angry Man. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about consideration. And it will also serve as the foundation for kind of explaining what what this podcast series is going to be about. Basically, a lot of times I come across things in life and I just kind of look around and I wonder why no one else is as angry about stuff as I am, or why no one else says anything about whatever is going around them. And when I really sit back and I think about it, and I think if other people were to do the same thing, if you just really just kind of sit and think about why things are the way that they are today, why you encounter things in public or with the public that you kind of shouldn't. I feel like it all comes down to consideration. I feel like the more considerate that people are, then the less of the amount of issues that we will have to come across and deal with. So, for instance, if you're a slow driver, I mean, you don't get out on the road. You shouldn't be trying to make a beeline for the left lane. And I've seen this so many times when I'm out on the road, especially when you're getting on the expressway. Like if you're already on the road and then you're coming up on a ramp that allows other people to get onto the expressway. Like the first thing that most people do, they don't even think about it now. It's just like a knee-jerk reaction. You get over, you merge with traffic, and then the first thing they want to do is they want to get over one lane. Not even looking to see who's over there, how fast are the people going that are already in that lane, or even knowing how to judge speed. When you're on the road for so long, and a lot of these people, they got to be older than 25 driving. So I'm presuming that it's not just a bunch of newbies out here who are just driving for the first time. Like you've driven for a while now, so you should know what the heck you're doing on the road. So you should be able to look into your rearview mirror or your side mirror and be able to judge speed. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to study it like it's a book. You just look and see, okay, someone coming, how fast are they going? Should I really be getting over? Should I infringe on someone else because either I'm a slow driver or my car is not as fast as I would like it to be? And if that's the case, stay your ass in the right lane. Don't get over. Why are you getting over? You're just causing problems for other people. And I believe that just comes down to being considerate. If people were really considerate, these are the times when they would show it. A lot of people do fake consideration. So they'll just be out somewhere and, I'm driving and I just want to let someone in. Well, look at how you're doing it. Like if you're stopping the flow of traffic to let someone in, if traffic is moving because there's a green light and then you're slowing down or you're coming to a stop because someone else perpendicular to you is waiting at a stop sign, or they're waiting to come out of a supermarket or a mall or whatever, then you're not being considerate. You're being an asshole because there are other people behind you that you're not being considerate to. When you're driving, these are some things that you come across. You don't get to go all the time. Sometimes you have to wait. But you and your fake consideration are trying to let other people in who have no business trying to get in. They're waiting until the coast is clear. You don't create a clear space for them to come through, because now you're impeding the traffic and you're being inconsiderate to the people who are behind you. And then you wonder how road rage starts. This is how road rage starts, is when people are inconsiderate and they don't know what they're doing. It only takes a few moments for you to just really kind of stop. And I'll take it back to Sesame Street. When they just say stop and think things through. If you just stop and do that and try to consider everyone or what impact your decision is going to have on someone else, then it will make so many things better. If you know that you drive 80 or super fast on a highway, then okay, you can probably start getting over into the left lane because hey, you're gonna be over there with some fast drivers. But if you know that your max speed is like 65 or 70, I don't care if the sign says, oh, okay, speed limit 65, and you're going 65, and you're thinking, oh, well, I'm doing the speed limit and I'm doing what the law says, so I should be able to use all the lanes. No, you should not be able to use all the lanes. That other sign out there that says slower traffic, keep right, stay your ass on the right side of the road. Don't get over there with the speeders. If everyone did that, we probably have less instances of road rage and all the other stuff that happens out there. So that's just like, one thing that is born out of consideration. If you drive slow, don't get over the left lane. Another thing is if you're bad with technology or you don't know how to use computers or computers just aren't your friend, then don't use the self-checkout at the store. Why are you going and trying to do something that you know you can't do? And now you're hogging up the self-checkout and you got somebody else that's hogging up their lane at the self-checkout, and you only got like what 4 or 5 self-checkout areas. I forget what you call them, but you only get 4 or 5 of those areas, and now you got all these people who don't know what the heck they're doing, and you're sitting there with your groceries. You probably got one item, looking at all these people trying to figure out how to use the self-checkout. They can't even use a Texas Instruments calculator, but they want to try to use self-checkout, and they want to hold everybody else up because they just see, oh, this place is open. I can just go over here and, try to scan my own groceries. Like, you're not intelligent enough to do that. So why are you trying to do it? Why are you trying to do it now? Why don't you go when it's super late? If you want to just get better acquainted with it when there's not a lot of people at the store, and then you can kind of study the self-checkout computer and figure out what you're doing. And maybe, after a month or so, maybe you can get up to speed. But the thing is, especially when you're in the city, a lot of people come from other areas of the country. I live in a metro area, so a lot of people come from other areas of the country, and I guess maybe some people come from the country, maybe some people come from a place that's slower, and they're used to a slower way of life. Well, when you're in the city, everything is about speed. Okay, I have stuff to do, so I shouldn't have to wait just because you don't know what you're doing at the self-checkout. So, or anything else, even with ATMs, people don't, I can go to an ATM and I can get money out oftentimes less than a minute because I know what I want. I know how much money I want to get before I go to the ATM. And so I go up there, and I've used the ATM before. So I pretty much have memorized what I need to press and the sequence that I need to press it in. So basically I'm waiting on the computer. The computer is not waiting for me. And with a lot of these people, they get up here and it's like they're a deer in headlights. They're looking, they have no idea what they're doing. And it's infuriating to the people who are just waiting. You got a long line of people waiting to get money out. And you got this one grandma up here who ain't never used a computer in her life. And she's trying to figure out how to take out $2 from the ATM and is frustrated because I just want to take out $2. Grandma, you can only take out in increments of 10, more often 20. Back in the day, it used to be some ATMs that gave you 5. They don't do that anymore. I remember you could just go to the ATM and get $5 out. I don't need 5. Why don't they have $5 in the machine anymore? Now we're kind of looking at the banks. They're not being considerate of what we take out. I don't want to take out $20 all the time. I don't want to take out $10. I want to get what I want to get. If I want to get $5, put $5 in the machine so I can get $5 out whenever I want it. It's my money after all. All of our money built all of these banks. And of course, they aren't considerate enough to understand why they're there. So it's another thing. And actually, it's another thing I came across today. If you have a bad attitude, if you know you have a bad attitude, then one thing that you should not do is be a waitress or work in hospitality. Like, what is the point? You're giving bad service to people, and then you wonder why oftentimes, you don't get a big enough tip. And you don't see that is a cycle, okay? So like for me, if I'm not getting the service that I feel like I deserve, and I'm talking about just base level service, if I'm sitting there, you should come check on me every so often. Don't come so often that you basically should just pull up a seat and sit with me and then just eat the meal. Like, you shouldn't come that often, where I know so much about your life story or whatever. I know like the things that happened to you earlier this week and what's going on with your family and issues with your mate. I don't need to know all of that. So you shouldn't come around that often. But there's like a sweet spot for how often you should come and check on someone. So of course there's zero. So if you only come when it's time to take the order and when it's time to bring the food and when it's time to leave the check, then you're not doing all of your job. You're doing the bare minimum. We the public should not have to ask or flag you down like you're a taxi in order to get a refill of water or in order to get anything else that we might need. We might need some condiments. We might have dropped a fork on the floor or something like that. So we shouldn't have to hunt you down like this is the hunt for Red October or something. Like, this is not the Hunger Games here. But you're making it that way because I might be hungry and you're not coming to see what I need. So that's another thing. It's just when you're considerate in that manner, then of course you stand to get a larger tip. And side note about the tip thing, and actually this may be another episode in the future, but one thing I just really hate about tips is they've really crept up over the years. It used to be, I definitely remember 15% being like the baseline for tips, but now when you go places that has crept up to like 20, and I've even seen 25%. And I'm just thinking to myself, I came to this place and the prices are posted. Why am I giving this person who's basically just like just someone going back and forth, handing me stuff that I could probably get myself, but whatever. So they're just going back and forth, relaying what I want to someone else. So there's basically the middleman here. Why do they deserve to get a quarter of my meal price? So we're going to inflate the price of the meal by 25% just because of what? And then sometimes you don't even get that level of service. So before these places start putting the recommended tip amount 25%, maybe even 30, I can't remember, I've seen 30, but one thing that these people who work at these establishments need to understand is that you chose this job. You chose to work here. You chose to work somewhere where, you're going to be depending on tips from people. So maybe you shouldn't depend on a job like that if you really want to get more money. I mean, maybe you should, try to see how you can get into fine dining where you can, get more money based on that. I mean, of course, you got to do more work. You got to be more personable. But maybe you should try to do something like that instead of pinning all your hopes on the easiest job that there is to get. So, but a lot of this stuff just comes down to just being considerate. I feel like everything just kind of flows from there. And with a lot of the episodes that I'm going to do, I'll do them on different topics and things like that. But I will probably always relate it back to this is why being considerate is at the forefront and is the foundation, because out of that, a lot of the things that we have problems with in life wouldn't be problems because of people who are just considerate enough to think about other people in the correct way and not in a selfish way. Like going back to the traffic example, letting people in traffic is more of a selfish thing. It's not a selfless thing, because if it's selfless, it's not really impeding anyone else. But if you're taking one issue and then you're just transferring it somewhere else, the issue still remains. You've just moved the issue. So hopefully I'm able to kind of help people and in between a lot of the rants that I have, but hopefully I can help people understand how to be considerate and how to be aware of things that are going on around them. Those are my two biggest things, just consideration and just being aware. Because when you're aware, you know you know what's going on around you. Like if you're on the road, you know if you should get over or not. And if you're a server, you know if one of your customers needs something. You can either sense it, or you would have actually been considerate enough to check, and then the customer would have made you aware. So both of these things basically form the foundation for everything that I'm going to speak about in the future, and just the basic things that we come across in life. So that's going to be it for this introductory episode. I'm going to try to keep them. My intention is to keep them kind of short. Some of them might go long, but that is always my intention. But it'll be a work in progress, and over time, you guys will see how I grow as a podcaster. And pretty sure in the future, I'll probably look back at this introductory episode and maybe cringe. But hey, at least you guys were on the trip with me. So that'll be it from the Angry Nation. And always, if you want to get in contact with me, follow me on Twitter at I am that angry man. Follow me on Instagram at that angry man, and like the video and subscribe if you want to get more weekly angry topics. Take care.